distance in the lights, vibration of a thundercloud.
Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and this is the My Sober Addiction podcast. It's a rainy day here in central Kentucky, and I am once again off schedule. Not exactly off schedule, but my last episode with the lovely Kitty. Apparently, you guys really loved it, and I know I certainly did. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, so we've actually even talked about the possibility of making our own another podcast. And I know you're thinking, well, Matt, you've not been real consistent with this one of late, and you would be correct. However, if you throw Kitty in the mix, yeah, well, I think that would probably be not the case. She's pretty responsible. Well, we'll say that. She's very responsible. Anyway, I have some quotes that I have kind of come across. Now, Jason Brashears is, he's got a channel on YouTube, Archaix. It's, Archaix. And he's very, well, I like him a whole lot. Now, he's very, I would say he's polarizing, to say the least. He's one of those people you either love him or hate him, I'm guessing. I can't imagine anyone being kind of just, whatever about Jason Brashears. Anyway, he's got a checkered past, but anybody who's listening to this show probably either does or is okay with people who do. So this is probably a safe place for that kind of thing. Anywho, a lot of my belief in reality and this construction or whatever we want to call it, he refers to it as a construct. He refers to it as a holosphere. He refers to it as a lot of things, and he firmly believes that in simulation theory, and that we do live inside a simulation, and most likely a computer simulation. Now, I'm not sure I'm on board with the whole computer simulation exactly, although I'm not completely opposed to it either, because I do know that, even in our present time, this being 2024, we already run simulations. We run simulations all the time to determine what's the sun going to do, what's that asteroid going to do in the next 50 years or whatever, weather patterns, you name it. We're running simulations all the time trying to determine what might happen, right? It's not too far of a stretch to say, okay, could we have a more advanced form of a simulation? Well, sure. I mean, that could definitely very easily happen. We could simulate a lot of things. We could simulate what's going to happen with, I don't know, maybe pandemics, right? We can simulate out what could happen with things like that. So, yeah, I mean, the theory is that we could be living inside a simulation right now, meaning we are on the outside. And when I say living in a simulation, I'm not really talking about the whole doom and gloom from like the Matrix movie and all that, although we can learn a lot from that. But the type of simulation I would be talking about would be the type where we're on the outside, we're here voluntarily, we're trying to figure something out in more of a controlled environment. Maybe we're trying to figure out how this would happen if we were to do that. What kind of impact would it have on our environment outside there? But this in here being in a controlled environment, and so if everything went haywire, well, that's fine. It just happened inside the simulation, and we know not to do that, right? And then the whole idea of we could be here and living out in entire lifetimes in the course of a couple hours, that's something that kind of blows your mind a little bit. But anyway, most people just kind of pass through. Most people that you see are sleepwalking through their entire life. Which brings me to a quote that I gathered from Jason Brashears, and I've got to give credit where credit's due. I've got to, cite my sources and all that good stuff. And this quote to me was very profound. It is, "The truth is for the individual, not the collective." I do talk a lot about the human collective and things and how we as a collective are one way, but that doesn't mean that you as an individual have to be that way. In fact, that's kind of where we can separate ourselves from the pack. We can separate ourselves from everything else. Things might be going on in the world that we don't like or whatever, And we can't necessarily change those things because those are creations of the collective. And while those things are there, that does not mean you have to participate in it. Correct? That means that it's something that's there, and we decide, hey, look, I'm not going to participate in that. That's not part of my reality. Is it there? Sure. But that's the collective. In my individual reality, I'm going to go with fill in the blanks right here. Right? I hope Jason Brashears of archaics.com or the YouTube channel, whichever, does not mind, but I'm going to quote him again, and it is, the world of existence is a property of perception. And I talk about reception and perceived reality all the time, right? That's where Matt gets all woo-woo, whatever. So anyway, the world of existence is a property of perception. To believe that we are physical beings in a material medium is tantamount to describing a breeze passing through fog. Now, does a breeze pass through fog? Sure it does. What is it though? Does it really exist? Yeah, it exists. What's all that mean, Matt? Well, I think it's pretty self-evident. We don't have to get into some big long rant about that. You're all pretty smart. In fact, you're extremely intelligent. So, with regards to this whole simulation theory, well then if we live in a simulation, then that means it is programmable. Some people may say, well then in that case that it is fully programmed and it's just playing out, which is probably true for the collective. Most likely true for everything out there. But you, dear loved one, are an individual. And that is where it gets really good. That's where we can be like, are we living in the mind of God? Is this God's dream? A dream within a dream within a dream forever? If that's the case, if we're just a dream, then do we even really exist? Well, yeah, we do. We exist because this creator created us in its mind. But anything that's created must be created in a mind before it is created physically. So if we are living in some kind of simulation, are we living in some kind of simulation of our own creation? Like with the whole simulation trying to figure out how would things play out in a particular pandemic, or if weather patterns, or what's going to happen with the sun, or are those asteroids going to hit the earth? Let's run out a simulation over the next 500 years and see how this is going to play out. Just hit the fast forward button so we can play out 500 years in a matter of minutes or hours or whatever. So, are we advanced, immortal souls living a mortal existence to learn duality? See, that's where you get me. That's where I kind of get in here. That's where I start rubbing my hands together and thinking, yeah, now you're speaking my language. That's what I believe is more the case. I think that we are immortal souls. I do believe that we never die. Like with the whole case of energy. Energy is never created or destroyed. It is simply converted, correct? So, in this moment, our energy is inhabiting these avatars, these bodies that we use to navigate around in this 3D reality, this linear time that we're in. However, if we are truly immortal, and I do believe we are, then time doesn't really exist to us, because if you don't begin or end, well, how do you divide something up into sections? Like how we divide up a year. Well, we divide up a year into months. Okay. We divide months up into weeks. Okay. Well, you have to know how long a year is so that you know how many equal portions to divide it into, right? Well, if you don't have a beginning or an end, there is no beginning or an end, so there is no way to divide it up evenly. So therefore, time doesn't exist. Case closed, right? I mean, most people agree with that. Most people know that time is a construct. It's a tool that we use in this existence that we have currently found ourselves in. But why are we in this current existence? Well, living out there in some immortal existence, for lack of a better term, could be boring, right? Not necessarily boring in the sense that we just sit around twiddling our thumbs, but in the sense that, well, if you've lived forever and you really don't have anything at risk, then what are you learning? So I think that by choice we have plugged ourselves into some existence, currently this one, where we do experience mortality. We do experience duality, meaning we do experience good and evil. We do experience this and that. We do experience good tacos at a taco truck versus Taco Bell. Just things like that. Duality, you know. I got to imagine that when we live in an immortal existence, we don't have a whole lot of duality. It just is. It is what it is. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not that, it's not this. It just is. But we can't really know non-duality if we don't know duality. We can't really know this if we don't know that. The yin and the yang. Or yin and yang, however you want to pronounce it. Don't get all triggered about that. But if you don't know this, you can't know that. If you don't know good, you can't know bad. I talked about that a lot on this podcast and in a lot of the things that I write, such as on my Substack. I have been doing a lot of writing and posting on Substack. If you want to know where to find my writing that I talk about, because I am a much better writer than I am a speaker, there's that. Although I will tell you, that I do post more of my more woo-woo, more of the out there type stuff there. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I gotta believe it kind of is a little more weird, but I know I can definitely get weird here too, right? So, anywho, so getting back to the reality thing. So it's like, okay, well, Matt, if we're on the outside, you know, and we're here trying to figure something out or trying to test some theory or whatever, then what's it like out there? Is that base reality? I mean, maybe that's a simulation also. Maybe it's a dream within a dream within a dream forever. And some people think that that's kind of a scary prospect, because what if it is all in the mind of God, and then what happens when God wakes up and the dream's over, right? I mean, I guess if you're looking at it that way, sure, but that's thinking of it as in linear time. Because one thing that we all know, and that all religions teach us, all philosophies, all schools of thought, whatever, teach us, is that there is no time. There is only now, the eternal present moment right now. And then when you really kind of think about it, it's like, well, that's the only way it could be if we do exist forever and ever. Amen. Right? If we do have no beginning and no end, then there can only be now one moment, one thought, one dream. But then again, that dream within a dream within a dream. So, I mean, I guess eventually you would get back to the base reality, right? If you kept peeling it back and back and back. I don't know. All I know is we have found ourselves here now, right? And I do believe that we are having an awakening. But I don't believe the collective is. I think the collective is probably becoming more asleep, more out of it than used to be. I often have said, if we looked back on people throughout time, like take the ancient anybody, the ancient Egyptians, it doesn't matter. Take the ancient whatevers. If they were to see us now, and I mean us as a collective, if they were to be able to peer into the future and see us now, would they be impressed? They would be like, damn, we're supposed to be the ones who were primitive. We're supposed to be the ones who were figuring it out. You guys were supposed to have evolved beyond us. And you guys are a bunch of freaking, what are we? Right? I think they would be very disappointed if they saw us, our ancestors or whatever. They'd be like, damn, we were sacrificing people on the mountain, and what are you guys doing? We're not going to get into that. But the point is, as a collective, as a whole, planet Earth has gone downhill. And I'm not trying to ruin anybody's day or anything. In fact, there is a silver lining here. The beauty to that is you as an individual can separate yourself from that. You as an individual are awakening, or have already awakened, or however you want to look at it. You as an individual are becoming aware of the fact that, just becoming aware of the fact that you exist. That's amazing. And I know that you might think, well, duh, man, I exist. I'm sitting right here. Yeah, I get it. But really think about it. Just becoming aware, and I'm not talking about, your flesh and blood avatar sitting here. I'm talking about you exist. Your existence is amazing. And I hate to say it, but a lot of people out there, they can't see beyond the tip of their nose or whatever it is. They don't realize how amazing, how magnificent we as individuals are. So that gives us an opportunity to separate ourselves as individuals from that. So the world can go to hell in a handbasket or whatever, and whatever can happen, right? The world can go to shit. The whole collective can do whatever they want to do. But we have awakened, we have arrived, we have realized we are individuals, and we are fully in control of our destiny. We are fully in control of our perceived reality. Now see, that's kind of the silver lining. That's where it gets good. That's where it gets fun, right? So, yeah, that's what I got. I mean, that's not all I got. But I mean, I'm not going to sit there and pound on the whole fact that, the collective as a whole has gone to hell in a handbasket, and that it's a great thing that we have awakened as individuals. And I know some people are like, well, how do you tell who's who? It doesn't matter who's who. None of that matters. What matters is you are fully awake, fully aware, and are fully a creator. And you don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be Jewish. You don't have to be a Hindu. You don't have to be a Buddhist. You don't have to be anything. Or you can be all of them. You can be a Muslim. It doesn't matter. Every philosophy, every school of thought believes that we are creators. We were made to be creators. We were made, and maybe that's what we're here to do, is to learn how to create. Maybe that's what the whole purpose of all this is. Maybe it is to learn duality. I kind of think that's a big part of it. Might not be all of it. I don't know. But we're figuring it out. And if you look around, just kind of do some people watching or just go on the news. I don't recommend you do a whole lot of it because it's just mind numb watching people do the dumbest things like TikTok. It's like, my God, these people. And it's sad because every individual has so much potential, has so much possibility. It's sad to watch people do the things that they do, knowing how much potential they have. We can't save them all. We're not trying to, because one thing that I have learned is that we cannot save everyone. In fact, probably most people won't be. The good news is that, I guess maybe in another lifetime, in another reality, another realm, whatever, at some point they'll come around, right? Because I don't buy into the whole fear-based thing that this is all you got. You've got this lifetime and that's it. The more I learn about the nature of reality and spirituality and all that, the more ridiculous that notion becomes to me. I kind of did, of course, I always outline my podcast episodes. I don't script them, but I do kind of do an outline, something that I want to stick within, kind of stick within these boundaries or whatever. And I've outlined a lot, and I've done this before too. I've outlined a lot more than I've actually gotten into. I did have on here that, I really wanted to talk about simulation theory and, are we already in a simulation? Is it a computer simulation? I tend to believe it's not necessarily a computer simulation. I'm more of a mind of God kind of simulation kind of guy. But as far as this big cosmic accident, and all right, I will say this. I'm kind of bothered right now because I did see some videos on YouTube about, atheists, who I don't know. I guess they believe that they believe in humanism. Okay, that's fine. Humanism's good. Whatever. We're humans. They believe in the big cosmic accident theory. It's all just one big coincidence. And that's all fine and good, except when you introduce consciousness into the picture, when you introduce individuality. I know they think that nothing exists outside the brain, your physical brain, but I'm like, well, yeah, except what we perceive is our reality. There can't be a cosmic accident. There can't be just, coincidentally, all this happened. The universe. Because nothing happens until somebody creates it. You have a creative thought, and then it becomes manifest if you pursue it. I mean, of course, everybody has thoughts that they let go. But really, if we really want to get deep into it, we can say that, hey, it became manifest inside your mind, at least for a minute. And that's such a, I don't know, it's such a, that whole humanism thing, it's sad. It's like, do you really think this is it? Because that sucks. God, that would suck. Shoo. I mean, to think that that's what reality is, that that's really it. That all this has just happened by accident. We're born, we live, we die, and that's it. That's just it. That sucks, for one. But two, I don't even see how it's even possible. But maybe it's because I've gotten evolved spiritually to the point where, or whatever, maybe I've seen too much. You know, with the big overdose, I realized I was conscious and aware while I was not responsive. We'll just go with that. And I'm not here trying to debate someone who's an atheist or a humanist or whatever. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in debating. I'm not going to harp on. I don't care if people want to believe that. That's fine. I'm not going to knock them for it. It just kind of blows my mind that you could just accept that. But if you do, that's fine. So if you're one of those people and you're listening to this and you're all triggered, please don't. Well, no, you know what? Go ahead. Say what you want. That's fine. Say anything you want about me. Just make sure you spell my name right. That's all. If you're going to pull out little clips of what I said and say, oh, this guy's just a religionist or whatever, blah, blah, blah. First of all, I'm not a religionist. Anybody who's listening to this knows I loathe religion, that I love spirituality. And I know that all this is a one big creation. And I don't have the answers. And I don't need the answers. I mean, sure, it would be nice to know, but I also believe that this human brain couldn't comprehend it. And that my higher self, myself out there, outside of this here reality, guiding this avatar, there's a real good chance that me, can understand it. In fact, I'm quite certain of that part. So kind of getting back to the whole, and I'm going to wrap it up here. And I've got more. Yeah, I got lots more, but that's cool because that'll leave me another episode to do. And I think I may go ahead and record 2 back to back real quick. Maybe not like right now, but like today and tomorrow or whatever. It is awfully rainy out there and the lovely kitty is working and I am not. So I'm kind of flying solo. Yeah. But anyway, one little final thought, I guess, like with the whole, this reality, is it a dream within a dream? Is it the dream of God? Is it whatever? It's a thought that I kind of came up with and I wrote down here. People try to have lucid dreams. A lucid dream is to become aware during the dream. I don't know if I've ever had a lucid dream, but a lot of people have. While their body's asleep, they become aware of the fact, holy, I'm here I am. I'm awake. Not physically awake, right? I'm aware. I'm aware inside my dream. And at that point, they are able to control this dream. And this is when it gets cool. So anything is possible in a dream, correct? I mean, we know that. I mean, we've all had some crazy dreams where some really outlandish stuff has happened, right? The whole thing about lucid dreaming is once you become aware inside the dream and then you then take control of the dream, anything is possible. You can fly, flow like water. You could, anything. So if this is a dream within a dream or whatever, dear loved one, I believe that you and I have become aware. We have awakened. So by virtue of that, we are now lucid dreaming right now. We are lucid dreaming inside the dream. Now, maybe it's God's dream. That part we can get into. Maybe I've already lost you. I don't know. These are random thoughts. Like I've told Kitty, and she's like, oh, yeah. I said, you might not want to know what goes on between these ears. You really might not. And she has actually confirmed that she probably does not want to know what goes on between these ears half the time, and that's okay. Anyway, if this is a dream within a dream, then by virtue of becoming aware of that, then we are now lucid dreaming and can control what happens in that dream. right? So, of course, Matt had to go full circle and come back around to reality creation, didn't he? Yes, I did. I certainly did, loved one, because it wouldn't be me without it. It would not be me if I didn't come full circle and figure out a way to tell you that you are an amazing creator of reality. So there you go. Okay, loved ones. I've got more stuff here. I think I'm going to it may or may not be enough for a whole episode, but maybe I'll just develop it and, kind of expand on it a little more and make a whole other episode, right? I'll leave you with one more quote from Jason Brashears of Archaics.com. And I know you're probably thinking, geez, get off that guy's jock. Well, I'm telling you what, he wrote a book called Awaken the Immortal Within, and I have not read it physically, but I have listened. If you go to his Archaics on YouTube and go to his We Immortals playlist and find the Awaken the Immortal Within, it's a book. I think it takes like an hour and a half. It's like an audio book. I believe one of his friends read it. It's amazing. It's really, really good stuff. And it's about an hour and a half long for this guy to basically read you this book. So obviously it's not a long book at all. And the first bit of it will kind of chap your ass a little bit. The first little bit of it, it's a little dark. It's a little like, that kind of sucks. But it's like the whole duality. We got to know this with that before we can know that. The yin and yang. In order to see the light, we have to embrace the darkness, right? So there is a dark side to it. But the dark side must be brought to your attention so that you can then enjoy the light. So it's called Awaken the Immortal Within. Yeah, you can order it on Amazon too. I mean, it's a published book. I haven't, but I probably should. Anywho, I'm not I will endorse it, but I'm not going to be posting links to Amazon. Not going to do all that. If you want to go find it. But anyway, the first little bit of that book will kind of grind your gears a little bit, maybe. It's like, yeah, this is kind of dark. But then it shows, it brings it back around and says, look, but now that we know that, we can do this. It has a really cool perspective on how you can control your reality. You can make an amazing life for yourself. Now, it kind of poo-poos the whole law of attraction thing. The more I look into all this, the more I think law of attraction is, I don't know. So I guess I'm still kind of clinging to it a little bit, but not as much. I'm not applying that as much, but I haven't turned away from it. Let's put it that way. Anyway, loved ones, I love you. I really and truly do. I just want us to figure all this out together and have amazing lives. And I will be back very soon. So, stay tuned. And that's all. Love you. Bye.
There is a distance in the light.